ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me again. I'm back, your movie guru, with another review. This time, I'm going to be reviewing a film that I wasn't big on watching, but I got a couple recommendations from some friends and some things that I saw online, and I thought, I'd check it out. The film I'm talking about is Greenland. It's got 79% score on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics and a 64% score from the audience. It stars Gerard, Butler, and Morena, Baccarin. And if you don't know anything about it, one casual glance at not even the trailer, but just a synopsis of the film, you'll get. It's a disaster film. This comet is going to, strike Earth, obliterate everything, and due to Gerard Butler, the film's protagonist, due to his standing, he and his family are given a pass by the government to where, they have a safe house designated for them. So, important people like doctors, engineers, things that humanity will need to rebuild, those type of people are given certain passes to be able to go to safe houses. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of these type of movies. You've seen this type before, The Day After Tomorrow, 2012, San Andreas. For me, when you're trying to see these films, the biggest thing that you're trying to see when you go into it is, epic disasters, a bunch of explosions, natural disasters, on a much bigger scale than we see them in real life. Michael Bay type of films. To me, that's what you're expecting when you see this type of film. And the biggest reason why, these films are never have been historically some of my favorites is because I've said it before, and you'll probably hear me say it again, but when the stakes are everything, then to me it takes a lot of the suspense from the narrative, because very few movies are willing to go that far to where, yes, and humanity was wiped out, and everything was terribly ever after. Very few movies are willing to go there, and so when they set up this big stake, the fate of the world or the fate of the universe or that type of thing, you kind of know that, okay, well, that's not going to happen. So you have to find, the entertainment elsewhere. That element of suspense isn't there. So not to say that you can't make a good movie, with that at the start, but to me, that just makes it a lot more difficult. So I give the movie a 6.5 out of 10. It does do some things well. Like I said, even with that overarching premise of, the comet hitting Earth, I did see a lot of, there were a lot of tense moments that they were able to create. Just the narrative of Gerard Butler and his family, trying to get to this place, where they'll be protected from this asteroid or comet, whatever it was. The most similar thing I can describe it to is kind of like The Walking Dead, where the emphasis on, is the danger is not necessarily the zombies per se, but the type of people, that we become in the aftermath of that type of catastrophe. And so that was a bit interesting to see, they were able to intersperse some really kind of tense, suspenseful moments in just them trying to get to this place. And it was interesting to be able to see, a bit of a realistic view of how humanity would react, if we all knew that, hey, the world's going to end in a couple days. So that part I felt they did really well. But like I say, when I'm going to see these films, the biggest thing, that I'm looking for is, epic explosions and things of that nature. And that's where I find them kind of lacking a bit. Some of the CGI, particularly a couple scenes I can remember where I think it was very obviously CGI, and the big, explosions, cities destroying, big tidal waves and that type of thing. I think it was kind of lacking on that as well. I can definitely think of some of the other disaster flicks doing it much better, creating memorable scenes. I think the best of this, of course, is Independence Day, where you've got the mothership sending the beam down, and like that to me was the gold standard in creating an iconic destruction moment. This one they were all kind of bland. So given that, I think that it didn't quite live up to it with that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm giving it a 6.5. Other than that, I thought the acting was pretty good. The story, a bit formulaic. It's not something that is not terribly unique or something you wouldn't have seen before. But it was interesting. But given you've got a pretty general story, good acting, it doesn't really, it's not anything that transcends the genre, but it's serviceable as something that, hey, I just want to turn something on and watch an action movie. As far as that goes, I think you'll enjoy it. 6.5, it's not a bad score. It's just, and it's a normal film, not something that I'm going to get hyped up about watching or anything of that nature, or not something that's going to be particularly super memorable, but, it's something you'll enjoy. I might be in the minority in this one. A lot of my friends personally that I know, really enjoyed it. They some of the positive reviews I've heard is that, it really struck them, as something that, potentially could happen, and, it really made them think, so you might fall into that category. And if you do, write me a comment, let me know, we could talk about it. Let me know what you think. Once again, if you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for your support. See you later.